extraordinary Erling Haaland scores 5 as Manchester City obliterate RB Leipzig. Records continued to tumble at the feet of Erling Braut Haaland as the scintillating Scandinavian scored 5 goals in Manchester City's 7-0 thumping of RB Leipzig in the second leg of their last 16 Champions League tie, which sent the citizens through to the quarterfinals 8-1 on aggregate. Having already guaranteed a match ball by the halftime whistle, Haaland added a further 2 strikes before the hour mark to take his tally to 39 for the season, becoming Man City's highest goalscorer ever in a single campaign. Ilkay Gundogan and Kevin De Bruyne also got in on the act as the Premier League champions dismantled their beleaguered opponents, who were a shadow of the team that deservedly drew with City just 3 weeks ago. While both sides were willing to press aggressively from the off, Pep Guardiola's charges soon began to dominate possession, and it took just 11 minutes for Haaland to have his first sight of goal. Latching onto a long ball over the top from Nathan Ake, Haaland burst past Josko Gvardiol with ease but could not poke the ball past the onrushing Janis Blažević. Just 11 minutes later, the latest controversial interpretation of the handball rule came into play, as Rodri's header from a corner brushed the outstretched arm of Benjamin Henrichs on its way down. Leipzig survived the ensuing goalmouth scramble, but referee Slavko Vincic was advised to look at the monitor, and the Slovenian barely hesitated before awarding a spot kick for Henrichs's handball. The right-back was booked in the process as Haaland crashed a penalty into the bottom corner to give the hosts the lead on the night, and on aggregate, Blažević went the right way but was powerless to prevent the Norwegian opening his account. A similar theme would follow as the first half progressed, and the ball was in the back of the net for a second time just 19 seconds after the restart, as De Bruyne crashed a 20-yard effort off the bar before Haaland leapt to head home the rebound. The 22-year-old's header made it 30 goals in 25 Champions League games for the Nordic trailblazer, unsurprisingly the quickest time to hit that landmark, and he was denied a hat-trick in the 31st minute by Blažević at his near post. While the Leipzig number 1 was seeing most of the action, City number 1 Ederson clattered into Konrad Laimer with a raised boot in the 34th minute. The Brazilian's foot missed the Leipzig man, but he left plenty on him well outside his area. However, the only card brandished during the incident saw Timo Werner booked for his protests, as Ederson got off scot-free before witnessing Haaland bring up a terrific treble in the 2nd minute of added time. Ruben Dias met a corner at the back stick, and the centre-back's header hit the inside of the post and trickled across the line. Amadou Haidara reacted quickest and attempted to clear, but he only succeeded in hitting the ball off Haaland's leg as the striker brought up his 5th hat-trick of the season. Any choice words that Marco Rose had for his side at half-time had little to no effect, as Gundogan fired in the hosts' 4th on the 49-minute mark, cutting onto his left and finding the far corner from just inside the box following a smart link-up with Jack Grealish. The Haaland-inflicted humiliation would only get worse for a disjointed Leipzig just 4 minutes later, as despite Blažević's best efforts in a goalmouth scramble, keeping out Haaland's header and Manuel Akanji's follow-up, the former was in the right place at the right time to fire home number 4 on the half volley. Clearly not learning their lessons from the last set piece, Leipzig became victims of a 5-star Haaland showing in the 57th minute, as Blažević palmed the ball into the Scandinavian's path, and he duly obliged, firing home into the far corner for a scarcely believable 5th. As the action died down in the final half-hour, there was time for De Bruyne to get the goal his performance warranted in added time, curling home a sublime effort into the top corner from outside the area. An FA Cup quarter-final against Vincent Kompany's Burnley is next up for Man City on Saturday, while Marco Rose's Leipzig have an identical recovery period before returning to Bundesliga action away to VfL Bochum.